Alright. Yeah. Woo! Welcome one and all. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Hearthstone episode. And I guess officially I cannot make a pilot anymore. So today is like the first real episode of Let's Talk/Play Hearthstone. Wow, I really screwed that up. Doesn't matter like at all. So yeah, here's the first episode-y kind of thing. First, I just want to say that I want to thank everyone that is supporting me, and especially my dear friends who help me out with a lot of stuff. One of which is this beautiful green screen that I now own, because it was my birthday and I was really spoiled by my friends. So my dear friends hooked me up with a nice green screen, and now this is all possible. So without further ado, the stream is a little bit late to the party, since I did waste a little bit of time setting this thing up to the point where it looks actually decent. So yeah, without further ado, let us go. This looks so cool! I mean, I gotta be aware of where of where I actually get out of my green screen, but other than that, everything looks fine. So we're gonna start off with a little bit of Hearthstone news. Yes. Let's see. A ton of cards have been released during this past week. Some extraordinary, some not so extraordinary. People tend to say that this expansion up until now is so and so, and not really on the high value side. So let's see. First off, we have Druid class cards. Now, one of the legendaries has been revealed and is Duskfallen Aviana, a 5-mana 3/7 that states the first card each player plays each turn costs 0. So the fact that funny. So the fact that when you play this card, it will not affect your next card in that turn. You actually have to have it on the board on your next turn, so that the first thing that you play costs 0. So the fact that the matter is, when you play this, you're actually giving your opponent a 0 cost card from their hand. Excuse me. So that's not really good. You don't want to be playing this from your hand. Now, you can cheat this out. And people are saying you can open summons, or whatever, that Master O card, because it has free attack. But Master O card is still something you want to play, so it's kind of the same story, but you get another 5/5 on the board. So the only way you can cheat this out is, up until now, pretty much unknown. It is unknown. It is a 5-mana card, so it's not a 4-drop, which you could actually utilize some other synergy-based cards that help you get out, 4-drops. Maybe there are cards that will help you get out 5-cost minions from your deck, but we don't know exactly how that's gonna turn out. Now then, let's see. We got the Gloomstag. We already talked about this guy. This is for an odd type Druid. It's probably not gonna see any play. Whispering Woods, we talked about that. Forest Guide, we've seen this. So this is pretty much a card that's gonna fit into the whole hand Druid theme. Maybe hand Druid is going to be something. Now then, Witching Hour. Summon a random friendly beast that died this game. Now, if you're gonna put only big beasts in your deck, there aren't that many good big beasts. But if we get maybe this legendary, might be a beast, or maybe we're gonna get some other beasts that are really good and we want to take out. Is that? Oh yeah. It's okay, it's okay. So, I'm saying that this card is actually good. It's a 3-mana Resurrection. If you have specific beasts, I mean, the 8-mana 3/5 with Taunt that summons, with Death Rattle, that when it dies, it actually gets out 2 minions that cost 4 mana or less from your deck. I think that is a beast. So you can actually play this card with that, and you can have infinite amount of taunts and death rattles and synergies and get as many, recycled tigers. So that's a thing. I'm not discouraging this card. Witchwood Apple. Add 3 2/2 trends to your hand. We already talked about this card. It's gonna fit the hand Druid really good. Hunter has gotten a lot of interesting things. He's all over the place. Like, he got a 10-drop, which is a dragon. We don't really see dragons in Hunter like at all. People are saying that this card is crap. The battle cry states double the attack and health of all of your minions in your hand. So you have to have specific, we would say specific combo pieces like Leroy Jenkins, and then you can probably go Leroy Jenkins, hit for 12, Faceless, manipulate him for another 12, so that's 24 burst. But, Hunter doesn't really want to do that. He either wants to, slowly chip away and do damage and be in control of the board, or burst you like really fast, really aggressively. So the fact of the matter that this is a 10-drop and you don't really do anything else up until then or after that is really dubious, and people don't really like it. But it's a nice flavor. I mean, it definitely fits maybe the controls type, control type Hunter, maybe, with some taunt minions in there or some echo minions that help you stall the game for as long as you can. It's definitely an interesting card, and I'm hoping it gets played and it's at least a little bit competitive. Now, Toxmonger is one of those cards that looks interesting. I mean, it's a 4-mana 2/4. The stats aren't that great. However, when you play a 1-cost minion, give it Poisonous. Now, this is opening up a whole lot of synergies with 1-drops. First of all, you have the Quest in Hunter, which synergizes with 1-drops. Then, you're giving them Poisonous. A 1-drop with Poisonous can take down anything. Anything can go down from a 1/1 with Poisonous. You have Tuskboar. It's a charge minion. You play Toxmonger and you play the Tuskboar and you run it into his 12/12 or something like that. You're officially trading a 1-cost card against maybe a 10-cost legendary minion that he is playing or something like that. Also, there's the, I forgot what the name of the archer, the veteran archer, or I'm sorry. I'm screwing up the names. Like, all of the names. I have the pictures of the card in my face, but they're not coming out. Not the names. When I play Hearthstone, I read the text and the names when I play it, but they don't stay in there. So yeah, the archer. The 1/1 archer that deals 1 damage. So the fact of the matter is that when you play her, she gets the poisonous status. She does the 1 damage. That 1 damage is poisonous and will kill something, and then you still have a 1/1 with poisonous on the board to trade into something else away on your next turn. So I think Toxmonger is going to be good. It doesn't work, however, with Unleash the Hounds. You have to specifically play minions. It says play, not summoned minions. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, the next card we have Rat Trap, which is one of those secrets that are probably never gonna go off. If it's ever gonna get played and people know that hunters play Rat Trap, they will never ever play more than 3 cards. Never. So each player that is going to play against Hunter will play as much as 2 cards per turn and try to do as much as they can to negate a 6/6 rat for 2 mana. However, most of the times, if you get secrets, it's nice to have secrets in your, discover or randomness that you can sometimes get. Wind Blast is a 4 mana spell, deal 4 damage to a minion. If a minion died this turn, this costs only 1. Now that's actually insane. So you're bound to have some sort of minion on the field that you can at least sacrifice, maybe a 1/1. And then you're literally gonna have a 1 mana spell that deals 4 damage to a minion of your choosing. Not random, not anything else. So I think this is a good card. This is definitely gonna be a good card for hunters. Next we have Duskhaven Hunter. It says stealth, so it's a stealth minion for 3 mana. It has the stats of 2/5, or whenever it's in your hand, it's going to continuously be swapping its attack and health values. So it's either a 2/5 or a 5/2. For hunters, we're pretty sure you want to play it as a 5/2 with stealth, so that means it sticks around. But it's not a beast. We do have a 3 mana 4/2 Tiger with stealth, and even that doesn't see play. So this is a little bit sketchy. I think the whole swap mechanic cards are a little bit, less powerful, so they're a little bit low in value. It's going to be interesting to see if they actually get played, or at least they're going to get, fiddled around with. Next we have Dire Frenzy. So this is like the Jade mechanic, I'm thinking. It says give a beast +3/+3. Shuffle 3 copies into your deck with +3/+3. Now, do you shuffle 3 copies of that minion? And those minions are buffed? Now that's actually not bad. So you can play this on a 1/1. For instance, you play your Tuskboar, which also has poisonous from this. Let's ignore the poisonous, right? You play your Tuskboar. You give it +3/+3. So that is 5 mana in total for a 4/4 charger. But you also get 3 more 4/4 chargers for 1 mana in your deck. Now I think that's pretty good. I think this is going to be kind of interesting to see if it's going to get played in a quest hunter, And it's gonna synergize with Toxmonger and all that other jazz that Quest Hunter might do. Now, it's interesting to see if it's actually going to be viable. Other than that, I don't know. Let's just wait and see what other things are going to come around. The meta is going to change drastically because everything's going to change. A lot of cards are going out. A lot of new stuff is coming in. So yeah, we're definitely excited to see what's gonna happen. Next we have the Hunting Mastiff. I think we already talked about this. It's a bigger Unleash the Hound. It's a 2-mana 2/1 rush mechanic, so it can charge another minion, and it also has the echo mechanic, so as long as you have the mana to spend, you can always recast this minion. So it's a good hunter tool. Next we have Mage. Mage is like the class that has the least cards revealed. We already talked about the Vexcrow and the Black Cat, both of which I think are going to be pretty good. Vexcrow is going to be a little bit sketchy, but in a tempo-oriented Mage, I still think this is going to be good. Now, unless you hit your Doomsayer or something like that, most 2-drops are actually pretty powerful. And if you manage to, cast like 2 spells or something like that in a turn, and they still didn't deal with it, and you got, on the board at least two 2/2s, or at least two 2-drops, because 2-drops tend to go from being a 1/1 to being a 4/4 or something like that. So it's definitely interesting. Paladin got a new card, which is very interesting. Now they got one of like the best 2-drops that there can be. We already know about Shielded Minibot, and that was like everywhere in each and every Paladin archetype. However, now this guy has Taunt besides having Divine Shield, but you require to have a dragon in your hand. Like all the dragon synergies are rotating out or are already in wild. So this is actually something that you're going to be utilizing in wild more than in standard right now. I'm not sure that Dragon Paladin is gonna have the tools necessary, at least not in this expansion. Maybe in the upcoming expansion there are going to be more dragon synergistic type cards for Paladin specific, so to say. And maybe in the next expansion this card is actually going to be great, maybe even too great. Rebuke we already talked about. It's the Loatheb mechanic, only in a spell format. It's gonna be good to slow down your enemies whenever you feel under pressure of being countered by spells or being killed by spells. Sound the Bell, people don't really like it. It's not a bad card, especially if you're... these kind of echo mechanic spell cards are actually great and are nice to utilize with your quest. If you ever think that you want to play Quest Paladin, not many people have succeeded in making a good Quest Paladin deck. Kibler is probably one of the only ones that actually played a lot of Quest Paladin. Does also the song with the... what's his name? The Kaleidosaur's name. He had a name, I forgot. But to be honest, in standard play, Dude Paladin is probably one of the best decks out there right now, and it's not gonna lose a lot. It's losing one card from its archetype, which can definitely have anything else. Anything else can go inside that deck. Maybe 2 1-ofs. Maybe you put in 1 Rebuke for that, being sure that you don't get countered of a board clear when you're going wide on the board. And even maybe 1 more legendary or some tech card that you want to maybe put in. It's definitely going to be a high tier high tier deck, and it doesn't require anything like sound the bells in it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Priest. Okay. Now, Priest has both of its legendaries already out there. And one of them is Lady in White. Now, Lady in White is a little bit interesting because she casts Inner Fire on every minion in your deck. So that means you want to draw Lady in White as fast as possible. She's a one-off because it's a legendary minion. Chances are she might even be at the bottom of the deck, and everything you did up until then, if you're creating a deck solely to, be around Lady in White, it's not gonna really function well. However, the effect is really strong, but depending on how you actually create the deck, it's gonna either be really broken, or either it's going to be kind of like meh. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see exactly how broken this is, because we're already playing like the most obnoxious decks out there with Priest, with the whole Divine Spirit Inner Fire one-shot OTK combos. So Lady in White is not really gonna help you do an OTK, but it might be good. It might be good. I mean, she's gonna give a lot of stats to all of your other minions. So if you find a mid-range kind of style control Priest, this can definitely work. Now, Camellias. Camellias was the card that was revealed at Omnistone, or Omnislash. And it's one of the most interesting legendaries out there. The fact that you can... It's like having a mirror in your hand, and each turn you can look inside the mirror, and the mirror is going to reveal one card inside of your opponent's hand. So highly competitive for people that are going to be being in competition and stuff like that. Knowing what your opponent has is more than like 50% of the battle, because there's a lot of strategy in a card game, depending on what you should play around, what you should counter, or stuff like that. And knowing what the other person has in their hand, what their resources are, you can plan a lot ahead and not maybe play into specific things. Also, he transforms into anything, so not just minions. He transforms into spells, into weapons, into Death Knights. So anything that your opponent has in your hand, he is going to transform into. If you want to play him when he is transformed, you can definitely play him, and you're going to be playing your opponent's card, but you need to have the mana for it. So if Camellias on turn 2 transforms into a Doomguard that your opponent might have in his opening hand, you're not going to be able to play the Doomguard right away. Maybe by the time you want to play like a Void Lord, maybe you're going to have the Void Lord in your hand, but you're not at 9 mana, so you can't play it. And next turn he might not transform into the Void Lord. Maybe he's going to play the Void Lord up until you have the chance again to play the Void Lord yourself. So it's definitely interesting. Maybe you don't even want to play it. I don't know. We'll see. This guy is definitely going to see a lot of play. Glitter Moth, we already talked about. It's for the odd cost. Priest, probably not going to be a thing. At least some people are going to try it. Maybe it's going to be broken. Who knows? depending on what other cards we get for that. But up until now, it's pretty trashy. Vivid Nightmare, we already talked about Vivid Nightmare. It's another way of replicating minions that you have on the board. It's definitely interesting because you get them damaged, so you can heal them back up. Now, the new card that was revealed and is making a little bit of a fuss is Coffin Crasher. Now, this card looks really strong. However, in the same time, it is not that strong. If we get enough minions with Death Rattle that are huge and good and big and mean and angry, Coffin Crasher is going to be broken. Because you're going to play your Coffin Crasher, it has already decent stats, so you're going to trade at least one or two things with Coffin Crasher. Or at least one key removal you're going to utilize on Coffin Crasher. If he dies, he's going to summon something big, like a, Deathwing Dragon Lord. Or Eerie Statue. No, not Eerie Statue. What's the statue called from Priest? The 9-mana 4/8 that kills something with lifesteal? That guy. Moving on. Coffin Crasher, I think it's going to be good. People are saying that maybe quests are going to come back into the rotation because we're definitely getting a lot of tools right now that can be utilized for the specific quests that we have for each class. So it's interesting to see if we're going to see actually Quest Hunter or Quest... what was that thing? Quest Paladin? Maybe even Quest Priest. Who knows? We're definitely going to try. We are. Maybe it's good. Now then, Holy Water. Apparently this card was reviewed by Kriparian and he was not excited about that. He's saying this is a bad card. So 5 mana, deal 4 damage to a minion. If that kills it, add a copy of it to your hand. Okay. It's not bad. 5 mana, deal 4 is kind of bad. We already have 4 mana, deal 3. So it's kind of like an upper version of that. Yeah, I don't know. If you kill a minion, you add that minion to your deck. So it's kind of like stealing your minion. You're stealing his minion, but you're killing it first. So you're not taking it directly. You have to kill it, and then you can have it for yourself, but you still have to play it. So it's not like a mind control power. But I'm thinking this is actually not such a bad card. Depending on how slow the meta is going to be, if you're gonna start having a control priest and start trading away specific things, and you're gonna get copies of really high value minions from your opponent, he's gonna have to deal with all of the things that you have plus the things that you're gonna get from him. So I don't think it's such a bad card, but it all depends on what kind of meta we're gonna have. If it's gonna be like really fast and really aggressive, I don't think that this card is gonna be that good, because you're gonna want to have board clears fast or taunts in a way. You're not gonna wait up until turn 5 to get a copy of a cheap minion probably that does nothing for you. Now then, Rogue. We already talked about Face Collector. People are saying that this card is not that high value. I actually think that this is going to go in every Rogue deck. Sure, getting a random legendary, sometimes you might get an awful legendary, but it's still something that you get. And legendaries tend to have like higher value than any other card in the game. That's why they are legendaries and you're only allowed one of them in your deck. So the fact of the matter is that you can actually play Face Collector plus Zola plus other things that let you get Face Collector back. So it also has Echo. In the mid to late game, you're going to get a lot of value back. Now granted, you have to be in a state on the board or in the game where you're not about to die. So this is kind of a card that is good early on. You don't mind. It's a 3-mana 2/2. The stats aren't that great, but it recycles itself with another legendary. And that can be anything. Playing 3 mana and maybe getting a Gul'dan Death Knight as a rogue is definitely gonna be a little bit annoying for some people, right? I think it's good. Even if you play just once, maybe on turn 3 or coin turn 2. Okay, enough babbling about that. I am actually excited about this card. I want this card. I want this card, and I want to play it in all of my rogue decks. Okay, wanted. Deal 3 damage to a minion. If that kills it, add a coin to your hand. People are saying that coins are coming back into rogue. So, yes and no, because the card is pretty costly. I mean, 4 mana, deal 3 damage. We already have Blessing of Kings. No, Blessing of... Blessing of... Hammer of Wrath, not Blessing. What am I talking about? Hammer of Wrath and the... the Beast one from Hunter that deals 3 damage and summons a 3/3. That card. Now, is a coin... Oh my god. Is a coin worth like a card draw or a 3/3 on the board? And it also has to kill the minion. So we don't think that this is gonna be that played. But rogues do know how to utilize specific things that look maybe weak on paper, but as soon as the whole archetype or the deck starts to flow, certain cards actually get stronger and stronger. So it's interesting. I don't know. I don't see it up until now. Whatever. Spectral Cutlass. Lifesteal. 4 mana 2/2. Lifesteal. Whenever you play a card from another class, gain 1 durability. Okay. The lifesteal is not bad. So you can buff this thing up as well. And if you start acquiring cards from your opponent, which Rogue has a lot of tools to do that. I'm not sure exactly how many of those tools are still available after the rotation hits. If not, it's gonna be a great card for Wild. I don't know how to evaluate this. I mean, we already have the legendary weapon, which is like a whole lot better. Maybe you include as a one-off. I don't know. We'll just have to see if this thing is gonna be good enough. For 4 mana, it's a little bit expensive, in my opinion. Next, we have Cursed Castaway. It's a rogue pirate, so the pirate synergy has some sort of benefit in rogues, but not at the moment. Now, it is a rush minion, so that means you can trade it away into something. Now, it says Death Rattle. Draw a combo card from your deck. There are pretty good combo cards. It'll definitely be up there with the Minstrel. That lets you draw 2 minions from your deck. You can maybe even add this thing to get to your Minstrels faster, so you can cycle through your deck even faster. Combo cards are like, even Van Cleef is a good combo card. Maybe you go with Eviscerates again, or with SI7 Agents. So it's definitely not a bad card. Not sure if it's gonna get played that much, depending on what the rogue archetype is going to be. If it's gonna be mid-rangey or control-y, I see them running something like this. Next we have Cheap Shot, another echo spell, so you can cast it once more. And it says, for 2 damage, deal 2 damage to a minion. That is simple. It's already better than a Mage hero power. So I don't think this is a bad card. And it's definitely gonna let you combo into specific things. Maybe give specific other minions value. I see this like a good card. It's not a bad card. For rogue, this is definitely gonna find a place in a rogue deck. Yeah, I see that. Oh my lord, Shaman. What can we say about Shaman? Shaman. I actually love Shaman, but it feels like no one has been playing Shaman for the longest time. The only archetype that we have in Shaman that is doing fairly well was the Evolve Shaman, which relied on getting a high roll Evolve that your opponent just couldn't deal with. There is a little bit of Jade Shaman creeping up behind, but all of the other things that Blizzard tried to do with Shaman in the last expansions didn't really work. They pushed Totem Synergy, which doesn't see any play, like, at all. They pushed the Freeze mechanic synergies, which should have been a completely whole new archetype. That didn't see any play. We have Overload, like a lot of it. That doesn't see any play. Specific, meme kind of decks were created, but other than that, not too much. Now it seems that Blizzard is going like a completely whole new direction, and now Shaman is gonna be like all about RNG. All about RNG and spells. So we got Hagatha the Witch, one of the legendaries, which is also a hero, a hero card. Will give you random spells whenever you play a minion. Next we have Bog Shaper. Now this is a new card. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a minion from your deck. Okay, so you can cycle your entire deck, right? You play minion, you get a spell. You play a spell, you draw a minion from your deck. Okay, 7 mana for 8. It's not that bad. I mean, we do have 8 mana for 8s, and they are played, depending on what they do. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a minion from your deck. You could do specific things where you have a lot of spells, maybe, and you have specific minions that you want to draw. I'm not sure about this guy. I mean, it has to be a specific kind of deck that revolves around having a lot of spells and a lot of minions. But somehow the other things contradict themselves. It's gonna be hard to find the balance, because this thing is a minion, it gives you spell. This thing is a card that will generate spells depending on how many minions you play. And this thing is gonna help you draw minions from your deck depending on how many spells you play. I don't know, Shaman is a little bit iffy. However, Warlock, Warlock is getting a lot of love. A lot of love. It's already the tier 1 competitive deck with a few variations, and it's not really losing that much. Sure, it's losing the Zoth, but there are a lot of decks that revolve around cube lock that don't actually run the Zoth and are more aggressive. And We got Lord Godfrey, which is a good board clear. It's definitely gonna help a lot in that deck. And now we got something new to play around with. Now, all of these three cards, from what I've seen, actually synergize with one another, and this is actually interesting. First, we have the Deathweeb Spider. Battlecry. If your hero took damage this turn, gain lifesteal. Okay, so it's a 5 mana 4/6. The stats are good. I'm not complaining. It could have been a 5 mana 4/5. 6 is a good, health pool. For 5 mana, for 4 mana, it's even greater. Sorry. So yeah. Plus it gains lifesteal. Lifesteal ain't bad. I mean, in a mid-range kind of deck, this is kind of cool. And I was talking about a mid-range kind of zoo deck for Warlocks, where you include Glinda, and you're gonna have a lot of value. Now, you do need to take damage that turn. So that means if you tap or if you play a minion that damages you, and then you play the Deathweep Spider, you automatically trigger its effect. Now there are another minions. Okay, my English bad. We got Blood Witch, 4 mana 3/6. Again, really good stats. Really good stats. We love these stats. People love these stats. 3/6. At the start of your turn, deal 1 damage to your hero. So these two already synergize. You play this on turn 4. If they don't kill it, your turn starts, you already took that 1 damage. So you can just play the Deathweep Spider and the Battlecry will trigger. Now we also got the Duskbat, Blood. Battlecry. If your hero took damage this turn, summon 2 1/1 bats. So a 3 mana 2/4, which again, if you tapped or if you played something else before, like a 1 mana 2/1 that deals 2 damage to you and draws a card. So on turn 4, you can play a 2/1, draw a card, a 2/4, and 2 1/1s. Is that bad? Depending on what your counter is or what your opponent is doing, but it's a decent card. I mean, it's decent. I like it. I think this will fit very good in a zoo kind of type, mid-range kind of type of deck that I was talking about. So it's actually a 3 mana 4/6. It's a 3 mana 4/6. This is a 4 mana 3/6. And this is a 3 mana 4/6 divided into 3 bodies. Good. I think it's good. I like these cards. I like these cards a lot. I think Warlock is going to be magnificent in this meta. Warrior, however, not so much. Although, the memes are gonna be highly up the charts with this card. This card, there in the corner. Black Howl Gunspire. Now the theme is really cool because it's a building. A building cannot attack. It cannot go stampeding on the battlefield. It's stationary, right? So it can't attack. And whenever this minion takes damage, it deals 3 damage to a random enemy. Now people are saying that there's a lot of ways that you can copy your minions. You can faceless manipulate them, you can print them, you can there's a card, Sudden Genesis. If your minion is damaged, you summon another one. So I think Warrior is getting pretty cool toys to play around with, self-inflicting pain. So whirlwind effects, there are a lot of whirlwind effects in Warrior, and the fact of the matter, it does have a high health pool. So it does have, let me just move myself a little bit. Oh yeah, much better. Yeah. So it does have a high health pool. People, when they trade into it, it's gonna deal random damage. If you start doing all of your board clears, your whirlwinds, stuff like that, this is gonna do extra damage to the board. So it's not a bad card in my opinion. Also, real men wear tights. Woo yeah. It's definitely an interesting card. Warrior is also another class that actually has both of its legendaries out there already, and they don't synergize with one another. They're like completely different. Now we do have Darius Crowley, which is a good minion for Control Warrior. Now this guy has rush, so that means you dictate when it's gonna go, in trading mode, and what it's gonna hit on your turn. So yeah, it actually gets buffs. So unless, let's say you take a value trade, it goes to a 6/3 maybe. If your opponent doesn't deal with him and you manage to make another trade with him, he's gonna grow in stats once again. So it's gonna be something that your opponent will want to deal with. And also, I don't know, like rush is like the best up until now. The rush mechanic seems to be the best suited for warriors, and that's interesting. I think Darius Crowley is going to have a nice spot in warrior. If there's ever going to be a control warrior, maybe not. We got the Deadly Arsenal. And this is a card that no one is going to play, because like the only high attack value weapon that we have up until now sorry, the only weapon that we have up until now is Gorehowl, and to be honest, no one really wants to play Gorehowl right now. Maybe we'll play Gorehowl. Why is that so hard for me to say? Gorehowl. That has 7 attack. So you can do effectively a 6 mana, highly overrated board clear that does 7 to everything. Even your minions. So that's something to take in consideration. Metal Militia and Red Band Wasp are also rush cards. We talked about them. Red Band Wasp is definitely going to be good in really annoying, aggressive counters. Like if there's gonna be a lot of aggro type decks that utilize a lot of cheap minions and come out on the board really fast, Red Band Wasp is definitely gonna be one of those really annoying things that are going to stop you as fast as possible and also challenge you really hard for your upcoming turns. Warrior got a new weapon, the Woodcutter's Axe. Yeah, people are not that excited about it, but it's funny. I mean, it's not gonna be a bad card. It's a 2-mana 2/2, and also when it has Death Rattle, it gives stats to one of your rush minions. Now you might be playing these with your Metal Militia, with your Militia Commander or your Red Band Wasp or a lot of rush cards in a control kind of warrior, or you might just have specific rush minions that you want to get, pretty buff, such as Darius Crowley. having a 6/5 already for 5 mana is not bad. You do play, maybe you play both of these, and then it's a 8/6. So having an 8/6 for 5 mana that you can dictate what it trades into, and it still keeps on growing with +2/+2, that's maybe something to be scared of. Warpath is also the echo card. Infinite Whirlwinds. At least we get a little bit more, more juice for the Death Knight to play around with. Because we're going to have a lot of cards that when they're damaged or when they get damaged do specific things. And I think that's kind of cool. We have the little abomination thingy that when you kill it, What is wrong with me? This is not funny. Okay. When you damage it, you summon a random legendary minion. There's also Gramash, which when you damage, you can go for face for 10 damage. Now you also have like Black Hall Gunspire, the turret. Warrior is gonna be interesting. Now back to the neutrals. I still think Azalina Soul Thief is going to be extraordinary good, especially if Hand Druid is going to be a thing. No one believes me up until now. Never mind. And I do think that odd and even decks are still gonna be, at least some of them are going to be viable. Now, what else did we get? We got the Nightmare Amalgam. This is definitely gonna be one of those cards that if you need some oomph in a specific synergy-based deck, it's definitely gonna be good. It's really good in elementals. Beasts have a good synergy with that. Demon, not so much, maybe. Mech meh. Totem synergy, I don't know. I still don't think that's good. We'll just have to see. The Muck Hunter is really good. Muck Hunter remains one of the best rush cards that is out there. Because you're going to have, almost all of the time, you're going to have at least, depending on what class you're playing in it, you can either, kill the 2/1 with your hero power, or you can actually utilize your minions. So you're probably going to have at least 1 or 2 minions on the board that you can sack into the 2/1s and get a 5/8 to go and trade with another higher health minion. So this is actually a good card. I think this is going to be in a lot of control style decks. Witch's Cauldron. Now this is interesting because this is a neutral card, but this looks actually like it's more like Shaman based because you're getting Shaman spells. Now I don't know exactly what other classes want specifically to get random Shaman spells or how you play around that, if it's good. Priest, warrior, I don't think they want Shaman spells, but who knows, maybe they do. I think this is a Shaman card, they just misplaced it. I don't know, but it's an interesting effect. It has like totem based stats, so it's a 0/4, you can't do damage with it. It'll just sit there and die miserably. It has an end of turn effect, right? Oh, no, wait. I have to read the card first. It says, after a friendly minion dies, add a random Shaman spell to your hand. Maybe Hunter plays this with Unleash the Hounds, and then you put down the Witch's Cauldron, you sack all of those little minions away, and you got a lot of spells up in your hand again. Sorry. Could be interesting. I don't know. I still think this is going to fit the RNG spell archetype for Shaman, because Shaman's gonna be probably the only one that will utilize most of the cards that are in its class. It has nice flavor. Okay, now we're getting to some interesting cards. We got the Gilnean Royal Guard. It has Divine Shield and Rush, so it's another Rush card. But it's also swap mechanic. So each time this is in your hand, the attack and health are always going to trade. So you either want to trade this away into something that is already damaged maybe, and still have a 3-5 or a 3-4 on the board, or you just want to kill something big, and then you have a 8-3 rush minion that can go and kill some other big creature on the board. However, this is really costly. It has 8 mana, so the cost is big. I don't know if you want an 8 cost removal of just 1 minion. I'm not seeing it. I've been saying that most of the swap in your hand aren't that great. At least not now. Maybe in the upcoming expansions they're actually gonna get better. Now this is a good card. This is one of those cards that are, even for beginner players, and like this is the one card that is pretty much gonna go like into specific decks. It's a 5 mana 3/12, a whole lot of health, and it's a taunt, so it's not bad. Usually 4 to 5 mana you get like around 3/6s, 3/7, 3/8s maybe, 3/5s sometimes. But this actually depends on how many cards your opponent has. So the more cards your opponent has, the less health your guy is going to have if you play him. However, there are a lot of mechanics introduced in the game that let you get this creature out, such as Master O card. And it's also a beast. Now, Druids did get a new card that lets you resummon a beast that died this game. So resummoning it is actually gonna resummon it as a 3/12 with taunt. So that's not bad. That's actually not bad. Also, Druids have the legendary spider that resummons all of your taunt minions that died. Hadronox, I think it's called. So Druid's getting a lot of cool stuff. We're just hoping to see that it's not gonna be too broken. We're hoping to not face up in a meta where there's only cube blocks and hand druids. Hopefully. Hello. Let's see. This is definitely a good card. Scale Worm, we already talked about it. It has the worst synergy ever, and we don't really see it being played. However, in Hunter, it might have a spot if you're only running like the one dragon, the legendary Drake or whatever it is. This actually gets the rush mechanic, and it also has one more attack. What's wrong? So it's a 5/4 that you can trade into something, maybe, but you need that dragon, and you don't really need that dragon in there. I don't know. This is a dubious card. Clockwork Automaton. Double the damage and healing of your hero power. This is good with Gul'dan's hero power. Good with Hunter's hero power. Mage. Priest. Yeah. Not too many. So this is not gonna go into any any deck. It's a 5 mana 4/4. The stats are not that great. It's also a mech. It doesn't have that much synergy because mechs are not haven't been so popular in the latest expansions. Unless it's like a really specific, meme deck, so to say, or really in your face OTK combo style deck. I don't see this guy having too much play in the upcoming meta. Rotten Applebaum, we talked about this guy. He's a decent 5-drop. Swift Messenger, another swap mechanic. 4 mana 2/6 or 4 mana 6/2. Nothing special about it. It's just, the swap mechanic flavor. It's not bad. Maybe if you keep wanting to sack all of your creatures into other creatures for infinity and beyond. I don't know. Still don't see it. I still don't see that this mechanic is gonna be good. Who knows, maybe. Ravencaller is not bad. It's a 3 mana 2/1. The stats are poor, but it will give you 2 1-cost minions, which can be anything, apparently. So maybe it's good in Hunter with quests. Maybe it's good in token decks to give them more, more tokens that they can play. Because it is a card that gives you 2 cards in return. So that's always good for a longer value, so to say. What else do we have? We have the Blackwalled Pixie. Now this refreshes your hero power. OTK Paladin might utilize this. Maybe not really OTK, but it's gonna help him a little bit. Like, you can use your hero power, play this, use your hero power again. So you effectively only need 2 minions to stick on the board, and then you can actually utilize this. Other than that, Priest might want to heal for infinity and beyond again. Druids, I don't see that. Maybe with Gul'dan, Death Knight. Hunters might want to use this. I definitely use this more often than trying to use the Clockwork Automaton, because this is a little bit costly, and this actually lets you utilize your hero power more often. And you can play this in a odd hunter, which will do 3 damage with your hero power. So you can effectively deal 6 damage. Maybe it's a thing, maybe not. Spell Shifter, a 2 mana swap minion. So it's either a 1/4 with spell damage. Spell damage is a little bit underrated right now. Not too many classes care that much about it. It's also a 4/1, but it doesn't have any, rush mechanic or something. Playing a 2 mana 4/1, I don't think so. No one ever played anything like that, and they probably never will. So I think this card is bad. For the simple fact that you have spell damage there, I don't think that's gonna be worth it. I'd rather play like a Kobold that is a 2 mana 2/2 with spell damage if I actually want to utilize the spell damage. And so that's pretty much it. It's pretty much it for the card reveal.